have taken you from the Imperial City's prison, first by carriage and now by boat, to the east, to Morrowind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen.
Wake up. We're here. Why are you shaking? Are you okay? Wake up. Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name?
Hi, welcome. This is Recidiva. I'm going to be doing my modded Morrowind run-through with commentary. My name for my character is going to be Nandine, which is a Mongolian word for sacred, since a lot of my mods and much of the culture is borrowed from traditions near Nepal and Mongolia. I'm going to be borrowing a few words from there. The class that I'm going to be creating will be called a Jaddu, which is Nepali for magic. So essentially sacred magic, borrowing from different cultures. Let me read Nandine's backstory. She does not know her parents, but her earliest memories are of an Ashlander tribe in Deshan. Certain drum beats, flute melodies, and the character of homespun fabric can bring a longing sense of home. These experiences brought into being by the Dunmer, who were the escorts of her childhood, were more right than other choices, so says her soul. It brings a rueful smile to her when she remembers her mother's skirt, but not her face or voice. It is not a lost or sad memory, but a bright mix of textile that seems to promise all the potential of the world. At least she thinks it's the memory of a skirt. It is hazy in context, but stamped upon her soul as truth. Logic has no power against these memories. At times, the scent of herbs and incense in a marketplace or shrine can bring her to tears. She grants the tears their due, then wipes them away to make way for the choices of necessity and now. Not as beautiful, not as true, but still vital. As a girl child with potential, she was taken in by a nearby Mabrigash tribe in Deshan. She was constantly made aware of the effort taken and charity given in raising her. She was made even more aware of her duties and requirements of service. The wise woman, Taviri, was a mother to her, privately giving her all the praise and intimate family warmth that was denied her outside the wise woman's yurt. Other tribe members saw Nandine only as a burden that made them feel virtuous if they did not outright kick her on sight. Nandine served as Taviri's apprentice and genuinely loved learning about dreams, magic, alchemy, being near books, hearing stories, tending to the fire and preparing meals. The Mabrigash tribe venerated the ghost snake, but Nandine grew skeptical, slowly losing her sense of awe and ultimately seeing tribal traditions serving only a few. She saw the religion of her adoptive tribe as a way to entertain elders who craved violence and wished to keep a cruel grip on power. As she grew in height and agency, she got into trouble in her adopted tribe by trying to set slaves free and arguing with elders. Often. She learned many lessons of hypocrisy. She was beloved and protected by the wise woman Taviri, but the Khan grew more and more determined to drive Nandine out. Although he was a man, and the matriarchal Mabrigash women routinely overruled his power, not for her sake, but for theirs, he still had power, and she was still nothing but an adopted child. Taviri did what she could, but more battles with hypocrisy were lost, and more lessons of power were learned. When she approached adulthood and potential full membership in the tribe, she was given a task by the Khan to fulfill that she knew would result in her death. Although she and the wise woman spoke of a gauzy and triumphant revolt, Nandine could read the shadows along the bounds of her words and expressions. Taviri wanted the revolt as a fantasy, but in reality was comfortable in her yurt. She was not willing to pay any coin of power or effort to protect or support Nandine in reality. That it would be right action was meaningless, next to that action being something that might cost Taviri her position. Nandine had learned that Taviri was prone to becoming lost in wish-fulfilling portents and whims, often using them as excuses. Nandine had learned that dreams in Daedra were about difficult choices, not about easy ones. Taviri, for all her knowledge, had failed to become wise on the subject, often lost in dithering doubt. The dithering doubt had a recurring theme. Inaction or blame was always the answer, not personal responsibility. Nandine made a painful, but what she considered merciful choice for the woman that had given her the most in her life. She bid Taviri a private farewell, assuring her she would stay safe. To the Khan she promised defiant victory, prepared ritually for her trial, but instead chose to travel to Cyrodiil to study magic. It was best for the wise woman, who could grieve for her lost apprentice but not have to face any further conflict. As for the Khan, who would believe himself the victor, she did not care. Let him believe he won. She considered this series of choices to be her private rite of passage to adulthood. No elder, kind or cruel, was qualified to judge her. She chose her own adulthood. As for the Khan, she savored the fact that she succeeded in her lie and he did not deserve truth. She enjoyed that he was surrounded by lies he could not detect as he celebrated. She puzzled over whether that was petty or wise, but it was satisfying either way. Some people do not seek truth, and as a result do not deserve it. She decided she did not have the temperament or patience to be a teacher and doubled down on being a learner. Her breath was precious and not a thing to waste. She decided one of the most valuable uses of power was not to have to tolerate fools with more power. She never made it to study magic. While traveling, she was arrested for aiding a servant who was being beaten by a noble. She was kept in the filthy hold where she learned an unfortunate tendency toward being violently seasick, and later transferred directly to imperial custody. She often contemplated the only bright moment of her recent past, the rays of the sun and the sedate glide of clouds she had seen as she was escorted in chains from the ship to the prison. In prison, she decided she was not a person of faith. Faith is not required in a world of living gods and manipulative Daedra with power-hungry nobles. She was a dual spirit of confrontation and evasion chosen at need. She chose pragmatism and stoicism set on her next goal. She chose knowledge and considers power to be a sometimes delightful and sometimes unpleasant side effect of that knowledge, but the knowledge itself is the satisfying pleasure. Her strategy is to feed her insatiable curiosity about the world while having a healthy respect for power being a corrupting influence. She feels if she can gain enough knowledge and harness the resultant power with wisdom, she will be doing the best she can with what she was given. She occasionally does what is right without regard for consequence. She occasionally does what is wrong without regard for consequence. She tries and often fails to carefully choose her path, which she tries to frame as crossing bridges and traversing switchbacks between knowledge and wisdom. She does not keep to the company of others, as she remembers the malice of the Khan and the hesitation of the wise woman as two sides of a septum surrounding acquisition and preservation of power. She does acknowledge, however, that septums are a necessary currency. She knows beauty cannot exist without horror, just as the pleasure of drinking tea cannot exist without thirst. Her goal is to have tea, but not too much, and be thirsty, but not too much. To live in the transition, to gird herself for the next hazardous traverse of the endless bridges between beauty and horror, knowledge and wisdom. So the introduction also gives us a dream. And Nandine is skeptical of dreams. Although it has power and she is shaking, she's trying to control herself. She was raised by a wise woman who often awoke with uncanny knowledge from dreams. Some of it was entirely self-serving, so Nandine does not wish to go down that path. In her mind, dreams are like shadows. Sometimes they can be the shadows of your desires, shadows of your fears. And to rely on them is like trying to get your shadow to lift a weight for you or carry a burden. That shadow will always be there if you face the light, and you cannot chase it. So Nandine is recovering from vile seasickness, which is most of the cause of her shaking and her behavior. So I will be reading what is not voiced. I do have voiced mods that will speak for themselves often, but anything in the right pane here is never going to be spoken. So sometimes I will say that. I will read people's dialogue when it's not voiced. Mostly the stuff that is not voiced is from mods. Recruit as a companion is from a mod of mine. It means that I can ask any NPC in the world to accompany me, and if they're a quest NPC, they won't follow, but if they're a general NPC, they might. It's based on my rank and my strength and my level and their rank, strength, and level. And essentially, although I'm not going to be having followers, except for one, I have a cat, which is actually lore. Cats are lore. They are types of Khajiit, the Alfiq. And this mod that I will be using for a follower will introduce an Alfiq into my world, and we'll go pick them up later. So I will not be using many companions, but this mod, if I do get a companion or do choose to, means they will have levitate, water walking, and water breathing, so they don't immediately die. Because that's a bummer. Well, not even last night's storm could wake you. Or the commotion up on deck, either. Sounds like there's been a mutiny, and the poor old captain is swimming with some slaughterfish. I spoke to one of the guards, and it seems we aren't going to Vvardenfell anymore. Thankfully for us, these guys aren't slavers, so they're willing to just dump us wherever they dock. Anyway, they need you to complete the documentation aboard to avoid any issues with authorities wherever we land. You look like you're still shaking, so I'll fill it out for you. So I will be playing a female Dunmer. I'm going to turn down the music a bit. I do like the music, but there's a lot of talking, so... I will be reading the books, if they're not voiced, playing voiced books with audiobook player. And this is to soak in the lore. Okay. My custom class will be named Jadul. So again, her name symbolically means sacred magic. Specialize in magic. So essentially I play a hybrid magic caster, but in combat I am definitely a stealth archer. So I'm going to go with intelligence and agility to support those two classes. Primarily I'm going for marksman. Security and sneak are difficult to raise in the world, harder than spells, so I'm going to go with that. I start with high alchemy, and now I'm going to go pick... I go with mysticism because that class is one of the that I use the most, really, for levitation, mark and recall, and it can kill you if you can't levitate. If you cannot recast your levitate. So the rest will be the rest of the magic skills: destruction, alteration, illusion, conjuration, restoration. I would like to go with enchant for lore and crafting reasons. I do really love crafting, but there's not much room, and I have mods and enchanters for that skill, so I'm going to give myself a boost for all the classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got them all. Got alchemy. Got my sneaky stuff. Okay, I'm good. This is a heavily modded game. There are going to be a lot of what might be considered cheats. But it is also a very long game. I'm playing this primarily for the lore, so it's not specifically for being challenged in combat. I believe with all of my editions of the game, it's going to be hundreds of hours. So I don't want to make it any longer than that. So the cheats that I'm going to have specifically are my creature merchants like Creeper and Mudcrab are going to be able to buy everything in all categories and are going to have essentially unlimited money. It's going to be like 2 billion something, a really funny number. My lockpicks will all have endless usage. Same with my hammers. And I will be picking up a few cheat items, also higher level unbreakable lockpicks, higher level unbreakable probes. This is just to make some really repetitive aspects of the game. Like, lockpicking is not a fun game for me. Whereas when I play Skyrim, I start low in lockpicking and I let it just rise naturally. But in this game, it's gated. So that makes it, you can't just keep getting better at it. You're just locked out of certain things. So my security and sneak, I'm going to pay for that, buy them, but I still will have some of the items. And transport is also going to be non-vanilla. I do have a map that has fast travel, but I'm going to set a rule that in general, I'm going to walk to somewhere that I haven't been, but then fast travel back to it later. So that may end up with, you end up somewhere, you talk to a quest NPC, and then you are right off again. So I will try to narrate that and say which quest I'm on and where I'm going. Okay, that all looks good. These are modded signs. And I go with Tower of Secunda because, again, it has a power, open 100 points on touch, which is very useful beginning game, particularly for me, and the way that there are a few early things that you can get if you have that. So I am going to run around at the beginning of the game. I have some knowledge of a few easy early access things that will make my life easier, so I will be going and grabbing a few things to start me on my journey. Okay, Nandine, Dunburn, Jaddu, Tower of Secunda, and my life as a scrub begins. Okay, that looks all good. Should get us by any inspections at the docks. I'll get this up to the new captain. You still look really rough. Maybe you should lie back down and I'll wake you when something happens. Yes, she's violently ill. That's all that matters to her right now is her next ERP. Hasn't eaten, can't keep down water, very sick. Alright, I'm going to start in Serenin. And I'm using a mod for natural character growth, which means my skills will level up without me choosing. So the more strength skills I use, my strength goes up. The more personality skills I use, my personality goes up. Over on the left, you can see a little widget that has a bath, a meal, an eye, and a bottle. So I'm using, I think it's called Sun's Dusk, Sun's Dawn, Sun's something, where I need to take a bath, or I get debuffed and my personality goes way down and I can't make checks. I need to eat or I get debuffed. I need to sleep or I get debuffed. I need to drink or I get debuffed. Your arrival went smoothly when you docked and left your former captors behind. You spent a number of days walking and sailing, but you finally arrived in Seyda, where your note recovered from the captain has led you. Alright, since I'm going to be reading the books and listening to books, mostly I'll be saving them until the end of the day where there's quiet and not so much noise, and I'll read them then. But this is a modded note. So I'll read it now. Captain's orders to the esteemed captain of this vessel. By order of Emperor Uriel Septim VII, you are required to escort the prisoner Nandine to Celis Gravius at the Census and Excise Office in Seyda, Vvardenfell. They will be transferred to you from an Imperial penal caravan, after which you must ensure their safety, as they are of a particular interest to the Emperor's plan in Morrowind. Swift sailing, Office of the Imperial Prison, Cyrodiil City. Okay, good. So this is Advanced World Map, and I'm playing also with Quest Guider Lite, so I'm going to have quest markers. The exclamation points are going to be where potential quest givers are, although they may not necessarily give me a quest. It just means somewhere in the metadata of the game, there's a quest there. Now, I could be locked out of it, I could be not leveled high enough for it, I could not meet the requirements, so I'm not going to be running to everybody that has a little exclamation point. I'm going to be mostly following these markers. That means I qualify for a quest. In my inventory is a guide to Morrowind 1 Needs and a guide to Morrowind 2 Climate, and they are essentially modded guides to the sun's... Let's check. The name of the mod is Sun's Dusk. Yes. There's bathing, environment, and primary needs. The books describe that, but they are pretty long and kind of technical. Mostly, it's things, you know, humans or Dunmer, or people who eat, sleep, or bathe already know. You're going to be debuffed if you're tired, it's not going to work. If you're sleepy, it's not going to work. If you're stinky, people don't like you. Eat, drink, and look around, because it's pretty. Look at the water shader! Look at the god rays! I'm excited. Okay. It's pretty. Oh, hello, Nandine. I'm Jean Monnier. This is Seyda, swamp fever capital of the world. I suppose you're wondering what's going on here. I can tell you where the services are. There aren't many, and I can tell you the latest rumors, unless you've already heard them. Okay, so I'm usually not going to be checking in on specific place or someone in particular, because those can be repetitive. It's not really flavor text, it's direct directions, and mostly we won't need those, but I'll be checking in with background, latest rumors, things like that. And it can get repetitive, but I'm going to exhaust everything as much as I can within reason, so that these can all contribute to journal entries that you might need. You never know when you're going to need something. I'm Jean Monnier, Commoner and Clerk of the Census and Excise Office. I heard that the local tax collector, Processus Vitellius, is missing. No surprise, really. He wasn't well liked around here. Me, I can afford it, so I buy my bed and board here. But there's no harm in sleeping rough and eating what you can find. Anywhere outside of town, you can just lay down and take your rest, provided there aren't any thieves or cagooti around. The guards don't like you sleeping in the streets. It annoys the gentry. Buy from merchants and traders who like you. You get better prices. Members of your own faction usually like you best.
A suggestion. Get yourself a more suitable outfit. Unless you don't mind being mistaken for a slave or a pauper. I am Sucucius Ergala, agent of the Census and Excise Office.
Some neglected ancestral tombs around here. Locals don't like it, but you can find some nice bits. Ghosts and ancestral spirit guardians are dangerous. So, the note about ghosts and ancestral spirits being dangerous is because they only take harm from magic or magic weapons. So if you go in there with a chitin or an iron dagger, they'll kill you. I've heard rumors of merchants and pilgrims attacked on trails by crazed Dunmer with clubs. Not Ashlander's mind, but dressed ragged and spouting gibberish all the same. Strangest thing is they don't take gold or goods, so they can't be bandits. I'm an agent. I work for a house or a company or the state, and I do things that need doing. Mostly I handle matters in the business or diplomatic line, things that require mercantile skills or the arts of speechcraft. I train in knowledge, hard facts and rumors. Knowledge is power, as they say, and sometimes I do other sorts of things. Things I can't talk about. Okay, so the voices generated, some of them are the voices from the game, but I know I have recognized voices in the audiobooks. It's Stephen Fry's voice, which is amazing. And the dark elven voice, when it's voiced, I can tell was trained on Brandon Keener's voice, the guy who does Garrus from Mass Effect. So I adore those voice actors, and I'm taking it. We can have an offline debate about AI if that is what you wish, and that is fine, but right now, I'm going for it.
I'm an officer of the Imperial Legion. Move along. We have garrisons at Fort Pelagiad in Pelagiad, Hawkmoth Fort in Ebonheart, Fort Moonmoth in Balmora, Fort Buckmoth in Aldrun, and Fort Darius in Nesis. Were you looking to join the Imperial Legion? All the garrisons are presently at full strength, except perhaps the Deathshed Legion at Fort Darius, in the West Gash near the village of Nesis. If you're interested, you'll have to talk to General Darius there.
Pretty sure that's Death's Head instead of Death's Shed, but it does crack me up.
Nobody is going to hold your hand in the Legion. In the Imperial cult, they just test your faith and your shoe leather. But here, your superior gives you orders, and you find you're out of your depth. You're supposed to be smart enough to be patient, get some training, experience, and new equipment, and try it again later when you're better prepared.
This is more true than in other games. They absolutely do not tell you when they're sending you into some place with something that can immediately squash you under one of their toes, never mind both of their feet. So this is why I'm going to be honoring the original game's intent of spread it around. You can't really go straight through one quest line because you'll be too low level to do it. So the game is intended, do a little main quest, do a little mage quest, do a little house quest, and also explore and pick things up. They make it inadvisable, even by story means, to barrel straight through. Everything kind of should work as an explorative synergy. I'm going to respect that as much as I can. I have a mod called Move Along, and I need to speak to a guard first. This will give me the option to speak to anybody to tell them to move along when they are in my way, which is awesome. We uphold Imperial law out here in Morrowind. We enforce the laws against theft, brawling, verbal assault, and murder. Guards like myself determine your punishment, whether you may pay fines and compensation or must serve hard labor.
That's how we punish crimes in Morrowind. We collect fines, and compensation is paid to the injured party or his kin. Don't pay the fine? Then do hard labor. Guards keep the peace and chase down criminals. Each district has its own guards. Legion troopers in Imperial districts, ordinators in Temple districts, Redoran, Hlalu, and Telvanni guards in their own Great House districts. Guards collect fines and compensation or drag you off to prison if you can't pay. Our civilization has brought peace and prosperity to all Tamriel. We place our faith in hard work, education, and discipline. We prefer free trade and diplomacy, but are not ashamed to use force. Don't steal, don't brawl or start fights. Don't kill, except in self-defense. If you're caught, guards will let you choose your punishment, fines or hard labor.
Okay, I'm going to do some audio adjustment here. Alright, I'm going to need to turn effects up, music down. I need to be able to hear the audiobooks, and unfortunately that is tied to effects sound. So background noise might be loud, but I think the audiobook mod is worth it. Alright, she is not opposed to theft. She's not a cruel person, but she can be selfish, particularly anything with words.
The Ebonheart Bellman. Vvardenfell crime rising. According to an Imperial Legion source, trouble is brewing on the island of Vvardenfell, with smuggling, thievery, and even killings on the rise. Coast Guard patrols are apprehending an increasing number of smugglers in the Bitter Coast region, while rumors speak of turf wars between rival street gangs in Balmora. Most disturbing is a wave of murders, seemingly targeting innocent citizens. Up to 5 Imperial settlers have been brutally killed in the past weeks in Vivec City alone. It is difficult to assess the root cause of all these disturbances, but fanatical Dark Elf separatists are a prime suspect. This is a sobering development for many in Old Ebonheart who have profited handsomely from Vvardenfell settlement.
Okay, so I will be adjusting sound often. Unfortunately, I love the audiobook reader, but its volume is very low, and I have to keep the effects very high in order to hear it at all. For reasons, I'm going to be looting paper, so I don't have to do it later. There is an itty-bitty lockpick here that looks like table. Just so you know. Priskar, don't think I've forgotten our wager. I want this dagger sharp as a scamp's claw by morning. Canciel. Lock level 1, folks, with me specializing in stealth and security. Wow. Okay, I use an auto loot mod. I also gonna grab all the alcohol for reasons. I need plates for cooking, and sometimes I don't even know which ones work, so I'm gonna grab all of them to begin with. I'm gonna get water, stuff to hold water. And here you'll be able to start hearing Stephen Fry's voice. It's really amazing.
The stars of Tamriel are divided into 13 constellations. 3 of them are the major constellations known as the Guardians. These are the Warrior, the Mage, and the Thief. Each of the Guardians protects its 3 charges from the 13th constellation, the Serpent. When the sun rises near one of the constellations, it is that constellation's season. Each constellation has a season of approximately 1 month. The Serpent has no season, for it moves about in the heavens, usually threatening one of the other constellations, the Warrior. The Warrior is the first Guardian constellation, and he protects his charges during their seasons. The Warrior's own season is Last Seed, when his strength is needed for the harvest. His charges are the Lady, the Steed, and the Lord. Those born under the sign of the Warrior are skilled with weapons of all kinds, but prone to short tempers. the Mage. The Mage is a guardian constellation whose season is Rain's hand, when magicka was first used by men. His charges are the apprentice, the golem, and the ritual. Those born under the Mage have more magicka
Okay,
and
so
talent for
unlike
all-
other mods that I've seen so far, you can actually pause the books and continue to play later, which is amazing. I have quick loot. And it's not really an auto harvest, the sort that you can get in Skyrim, but it is still a quick harvest where if I press E, I can quickly grab stuff.
Your papers, please.
Well, you finally made it. Better late than never. I trust your little excursion was fruitful. What happened to the ship that was transporting you? Oh, well, that certainly is something. Anyway, I was supposed to give you your duties when you first arrived in Morrowind, but that obviously didn't happen.
I am Celis Gravius, and Knight-Errant of the Imperial Legion. This package came with the news of your arrival. You are to take it to Caius Cosades in the town of Balmora. Go to the South Wall Corner Club and ask for Caius Cosades. They'll know where to find him. Serve him as you would serve the Emperor himself. I also have a letter for you, and a dispersal to your name.
Okay, so I need to click on duties again. It's still blue. You get one of two options. They yell at you for asking you again and behave as though they're very tired or angry, or it can even update your map and tell you more. So even though I know 98% of it is just getting yelled at for being repetitive, every now and then it will update your map as though you're asking again. It'll give you a little more information, add to your journal. So I don't like it, but I'm going to do it.
You know your duties. Take that package to Caius Cosades in Balmora. Balmora is north of Seda Neen. The road passes Pelagiad Village and Fort Pelagiad, crosses a deep ravine, passes Fort Moonmoth, then turns west across the Odai River and into Balmora. The South Wall Corner Club is in southeast Balmora on the east side of the river. For more detailed directions, talk to Elone the scout at Aril's Trade House here in Seda Neen. But take my advice. You're new here. Take the Silt Strider to Balmora. Fast, cheap, safe. Cross the bridge and head east. Can't miss it. Report to Caius Cosades in Balmora. I can't tell you where to find him, but you are to go to the South Wall Corner Club and ask for him. Someone there can direct you to him. The punishment for criminals in Morrowind is typically fines. Fines are collected by the state, and compensation is paid to the injured party or his kin. The punishment for criminals in Morrowind is typically fines. Fines are collected by the state, and compensation is paid to the injured party or his kin. I'm proud to be an Imperial. Through our legions and rule of law, we've brought peace and civilization to the provinces of Tamriel. Where to start? Probably in Balmora. That's the House Hlalu district seat. They've got a Fighters Guild and Mages Guild there, and a Legion fort, though I don't know if they're recruiting. They have all the services you need. Trainers, smiths, outfitters. And if you join a guild and work your way up, the discounts and perks are worthwhile.
Some of the information is going to be very repetitive, so I just clicked on fines here. Now, he's a guard. He's got an opinion on fines. They are upright, righteous, and necessary. But if you ask a thief or a pirate, they might have a different opinion about fines. So we could have 17 different nuanced opinions about fines throughout the realm. Some of them aren't as nuanced as you would like them to be, but that's why I click on them, because there's racism, there's religion. So if you ask someone in the temple the opinion about the temple, they will have a different opinion than a dissident priest. So yes, it is shading, it is context, and I'm going to honor that it's a little bit clunky and it's repetition, but there's some real gems in there. Be careful before you get into bed with a particular faction. There's usually a competitor or ideological opposite to any one house or guild, so find out what your new enemies will be before you pledge your allegiance.
Yes, you're in Morrowind. I don't know why you're here or why you were released from prison and shipped here, but your authorization comes directly from Emperor Uriel Septim VII himself. And I don't need to know any more than that. When you leave this office, you are a free man. But before you go, I have instructions on your duties. Instructions from the Emperor. So pay careful attention.
Almost everyone is referred to as a man, unless it's modded or altered. Even the intro says, the adventurer has no idea what impact he will have. So I will express my disappointment here and possibly other places, but get used to being misgendered.
I am a knight-errant of the Order of Ebonheart, and an imperial emissary attached to the Census and Excise Office here in
I even
Saint-Denis.
have a mod called, I believe it's less sexist. So some of this has been altered to insult women slightly less.
Siltstriders carry passengers and cargo between settlements on Vvardenfell. Fares depend on distance to be traveled. Siltstriders are giant insects. A compartment for passengers and cargo is hollowed from the creature's shell. The driver directs the beast by directly manipulating exposed organs and tissues. Siltstriders travel between Aldrun, Balmora, Saida Neen, Suran, Gnesis, Molagmar, Margan, and North Landing near Vivek. Yes, Uriel Septim is still the Emperor. According to my instructions, he personally authorized your release from prison and your delivery here. It's all very mysterious, but that's the way the Empire works. Silence, secrecy. Let not the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Yes, of course this is the Empire. This is Vvardenfell district of the province of Morrowind. And Morrowind has been part of the Empire for over 400 years. The current Emperor is Uriel Septim, 24th of the Septim line. You haven't been in prison that long, have you? Nothing wrong with your head, is there? The men said you were acting a little strange when they brought you in from the ship.
Nandine, so these are the directions to Caius Casades. You've been given these directions in a package of documents. Do not show them to anyone. Do not attempt to read the documents in the package. The package has been sealed and your tampering will be discovered and punished. Follow these directions. I'm going to see if these can be read. This is a modded gentleman who will give me a few basic spells and gear. Ah, there you are, Jadu. I am Tribunus Fraternus, champion of the Imperial Legion. By decree of the Emperor, we're to outfit the prisoner, Jadu, with equipment suitable to his or her profession. See, thank you for the his or her. You could just say they or their. Since you are that Jadu, you are entitled to these items. You are to serve the Emperor at all times. It is out of the kindness of his heart and the strength of his soul that you are granted these. So I get a few basic spells. Mortar and pestle, retort, lockpick, probe, and a bow with some arrows, which is very helpful. You'd be wise to supplant the gifts you've received with items from Ariel's trade house, just northwest of here. Might I recommend purchasing a nice pair of clothes instead of those ratty rags you're wearing at the moment? You may be on your way, Jadu, and watch your step in Morrowind.
If I can help, I will, but don't take too much time. Are you the one that boat dropped off? Odd to see a boat arrive at that time of the day. Hope the Imperials treated you okay. I swear they took my ring.
Oh, you are bitter green, Outlander. Might as well wear a sign, new in town. Word of advice, buy a little goodwill. Lose a few drakes, gain a friend. Folks will loosen up if you spread a little of the Emperor's gold around. Some rough customers come into town now and then for supplies. I reckon they're smugglers and bandits holed up in the caves and mines hereabout. Me? I'm no fighter. I just keep my head down. but an adventurer like yourself could go and clean them out. Might make yourself some gold while you're at it.
I swear one of the guards has it. I had it last week before their weekly Let's Shake Down Fargoth ritual. An engraved healing ring, family heirloom of mine. You haven't seen it, have you?
There's someone watching.
I could say, no, sorry, no ring, or yes, I found it. Here, take it. I'm gonna give it to him. It's not a great ring.
You found it! Amazing! Thank you, thank you. You are now my favorite friend. I'll be sure to tell the others, especially my friend Ariel, who runs the trade house here. Go see him. He'll be happy to see you now.
I'm a commoner. I do whatever needs doing. Cooking, cleaning, building, baking, making, breaking. And by your accent, I can tell you are an outlander. Since you're new to these parts, perhaps you'd like me to share a little local lore.
Yes, thank you for finding it. Those guards better look out!
I like mushrooms. So I'm using graphical herbalism also, which means I don't have to open these as containers. I can just quickly grab them, which is nice. Thanks to all the mod makers out there. We like mushrooms. So with Sun's Dusk, I can cook them into meals and feed myself.
Yes, madame, what is it?
Ever consider joining the Legion?
Alright,
See
I need
something
to
you
buy some
like?
soap.
Welcome to Ariel's Trade House. I'm Ariel, publican and proprietor. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. You're a new face here. If you want to buy from me, you have to barter. If you want a little advice, free to new customers, just ask. Would you like to hear about our most popular potions, our most popular scrolls?
Alright, speechcraft in this game is pretty wonky. I'm going to barrel through raising his disposition. It's 86 now, but it's a lot of spam. So I'll show you how it works. You can admire, intimidate, or taunt. So I'll admire
Yes,
him.
later. I'd love to.
And it goes from 88 to 92. Do it again.
I
Goes
can see
back
where this is
down.
going. Perhaps you should leave.
So it's not a fun game. You never know which one is going to work. Oblivion does better, but it's still pretty tedious. So I'm going to cut this out, but essentially, when I meet an NPC and I need something from them, I'm going to spam them until they like me, which is really, don't do that in reality. I mean, don't ask someone in reality the same question 1,000 times until they give in. It's not great.
I'm sure, you're not, no, I'm not, I don't think that, I'm not, you're not, that's, I don't, I'm not.
See how much fun this is?
I'm not, thank with me, I'm not, thank with me, I'm not, I'm, thank with me, I should, with me, goodness, you're too kind. I don't, you're not,
And I have mods that make this easier, believe it or not.
Your word, yes, later, I can see.
Often, it just goes straight down to 0 and stays there. I think I spent like half an hour trying to do this once.
I'm sure that's, no one, I'm not,
And anyway, you're a scrub at the beginning, you don't have any reputation, nobody knows you, nobody likes you.
No one's, I'm not, I'm sure that's, I'm sure, no one's, your word, yes, I can, I'm not, sure, I'm sure, I'm not, no one, I'm not, I'm sure, your word, I can, yes, I can see, I feel, your words, I can see, I'm not, I can, yes, I
So
can,
the little
yes, later, I can see,
sound
I'm
you
not, I
hear
can, yes,
is
later,
me
I can,
probably
I can,
gaining
I
some
can, I feel
personality
what?
points.
I feel the same,
Okay,
I feel the same
he's at
way.
100.
It's been some time now for me.
And all I'm going to get from him, I think, are soap and arrows. Alright, so we've got some soap. I'm going to buy as many arrows as we can. Okay, I'm going to be mostly out of cash, so let's not buy all those arrows. Alright, what are we giving back? But I want them all. Okay, let's get back some iron arrows so we can actually travel to Balmora. Alright.
I heard that Hriskar upstairs is having some financial troubles. Can't seem to win a wager these days. If you want to live to a ripe old age, buy a weapon and as much armor as you can wear and still run from trouble. Buy a spell or two and practice your skills. Don't practice on citizens. We call that foul murder, and we don't like it. But you can kill smugglers and bandits and other outlaws all you like. Outlaws have no rights. Plenty of adventurers make a living from killing and looting outlaws. That smuggler scum down in Adamus Artis, for instance. The cave down near the Silt Strider platform. Cure common disease and cure blight disease potions are most popular with travelers. Fortify strength, endurance, speed, agility are very helpful in combat. Fortify personality is popular with merchants and shy persons. Of course, Fortify fatigue keeps you fighting at your best. Restore health and restore fatigue are perhaps our most popular items, and for a short burst of power during a fight, you can't beat Grief, Shane, Flynn, Mazte, and Sujama. Vigor and Vitality are our best-selling bargain items, restoring fatigue and health respectively. Almsivy Intervention and Divine Intervention transport you instantly to the nearest temple or nearest imperial shrine, good for routine or emergency transportation. Heartwise helps with persuasion. Summons Skeletal Minion brings help in a jiffy. And Drathus's Winter Guest does a lot of damage at a touch. Handy to whittle a too-tough opponent down to size. Practice on creatures and outlaws, and anyone who attacks you first. When in doubt, run away. And if you attack a citizen by accident, don't kill him. Turn yourself into a guard, pay your fine, and clear your name, or people will treat you like an outlaw.
You're new to Seydanin, right? I'm Tolvis Othrelin. I'm sure you have questions. Go ahead. Ask. I have plenty of time. My cousin claimed he saw a city in the water near Gnar Mok. He's a drunkard, though, and spends too much time in the sun. It pays to take it slow when you first come to Morrowind. When you talk to folks, keep an eye on their dispositions. They let you know if you don't like them, and it's smart to get on a fellah's good side before you ask for a favor.
If the great houses want a Dunmer noble dead badly enough, they get a contract through the Morak Tong. If the fellah is smart, they flee the city, go underground and lay low for a spell. But some of the braver ones wait in ambush. They rarely survive.
We are the dark-skinned, red-eyed elven people of Morrowind. The Westerners call us Dark Elves, but we prefer to call ourselves Dunmer.
What do you want? What is your... You look like you could use a friend, Outlander. Perhaps I can be your friend. I'd like you to help me recover some gold.
So 9 Holes is a modded playable game like Tic-Tac-Toe. It's in the game, you can challenge people to it, and I don't, really. So, there you go. I don't exactly have gold to spare. That's a good reason to help me recover some gold. Play you afterward.
That's right. See, I had a bad run of luck playing 9 Holes and lost a bit of money. Normally, I'd be fine. We can usually keep some gold in our pockets just from the money the locals pay us for. Protection. But I know some of them are holding out on me. Especially that little fetcher, Fargoth. He's come up light the past couple of weeks when I've shaken him down. I know he's stashing it somewhere. I'd like you to find Fargoth's hiding place. I know the little fetcher's got one somewhere in town. Just not sure where yet. I've already gone through his whole house, so I know he's not hiding it there. I'd like you to find out where he's stashing his gold. If you can, I'll give you a share of the wealth. Are you up for it? Excellent.
I'll do it.
Here's what I want you to do. I'm not sure where he goes, but I know he wanders around town at night. Watch his movements. The best vantage point is on top of the lighthouse south of town. That will give you a nice view of all of Seydanin. If you keep an eye on where he goes, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out where he's hiding that gold.
This scent is new.
So this is a hireable companion that I am not going to hire. The wind whispers through the reeds, and this one listens. You bring new currents, Outlander. What does the rule of your journey seek here? Some call this one Bard, but Sea Silent Reeds is much more. I'm a listener first, then sometimes a shaper of breath. Songs are already there, in the quiet places. This one goes by many names, and that is one of them. Do you walk a similar path? Perhaps new melodies could be found together. Okay, so I believe he's from the mod Bardcraft, which I haven't gotten into, and I have tried hiring him as a follower, and he's kind of useless. So, okay. Hello, I bet you have a grand old time playing a game of 13 Telvanni. Talk to Ilone about setting up a game. It's a card game these Dark Elves made with their own type of cards, things like Dust, Adept, or a Magister. You ever heard of a Dust Adept? Alone has a book with all the card types and game rules. To my left there. I also don't play this game, so, yeah.
I'm Raflod the Braggart. I do a little of this, a little of that. A friend of mine says you have to visit the House of Earthly Delights in Suran. You will get slaughtered if you start acting like a warrior. Always sneak up to your target and take advantage of your stealth. Even a dagger is effective if used in the right way at the right time. Daedra? You know what they are, right? Well, Daedric shrines are where Daedra cults worship Daedra. Bad people who summon bad Daedra. Stay away from them. Why? Because Daedra are nasty, and the folks that worship them are even nastier. Morrowind is the northeastmost province of the Tamrielic Empire, bounded on the north and east by the ocean, on the west by Skyrim, on the southwest by Cyrodiil, also known as the Imperial Province, and on the south by Black Marsh, also known as Argonia. I'm a scout. I know places, people, plants, paths, wind, and weather. I serve as guide for travelers and traders, or work as advance guard and pathfinder for expeditions. I know the geography of Vvardenfell and the various geographic regions. My best defense is stealth, sneaking past trouble, but I can fight bow or blade in various armor styles when the job requires it. Vvardenfell has 9 regions, each with their own plants and terrain. They're called the Ascadian Isles, the Ashlands, Azura's Coast, the Bitter Coast, the Grazelands, Molag Amur, Red Mountain, West Gash, and Sheogorad. The Bitter Coast is also called the Smuggler's Coast. Hidden coves and islands are handy for smugglers, and the frequent rain and fog hide small boats from excise cutters.
Red Mountain is the great volcano in the center of Vvardenfell Island.
Sheogorad is largely hostile and uninhabited, with 2 small villages at Aldredania and Dagonfell. Only recently open to settlement and trade, most of Vvardenfell's population is confined to the relatively hospitable west and southwest coast, centered around the ancient city of Vivec and the old Great House district centers at Balmora, Aldrun, and Sadrith Mora. Siltstriders carry passengers and cargo between settlements on Vvardenfell. Fares depend on distance to be traveled. Siltstriders are giant insects. A compartment for passengers and cargo is hollowed from the creature's shell. The driver directs the beast by directly manipulating exposed organs and tissues. Siltstriders travel between Aldrun, Balmora, Sedanin, Suran, Genesis, Molag Mar, Margan, and North Landing near Vivec.
Anytime you're
Yes,
ready.
madame.
Just don't keep me
What
waiting.
is it? Welcome to Sedanin, stranger. Is there some specific place you're looking for?
I'm trained in reciting the great epics of Dunmer history, but perhaps one day the troubadours will sing of me as the greatest bard that ever lived. Yes, bard, that is my trade. No, I'm not for hire. You've probably heard the transport to Mournhold has been heavily restricted due to concerns about the Blight. Boats from Vvardenfell are being turned away. What most people don't know is that there's still a way to get there, or at least that's what I've heard. Ask around in Ebonheart.
These Imperial tax collectors have really started to get on everyone's nerves. Haven't seen the local one in a while, though. Not that anyone is complaining. Your first visit to Morrowind, Outlander. Then learn the law and local customs. Get a copy of Law and Custom in Morrowind. Slavery is legal here. Foul murder is illegal, but if he strikes the first blow, you're in the clear. A verbal attack is illegal, just like an unprovoked physical attack. Folks are touchy about personal honor. Watch your tongue, or you'll get called out to a duel.
Talk to everyone. Talk is cheap. Ask questions. You don't ask, you never learn.
I am a bard. As an entertainer, I share songs and stories with patrons and peasants. As a scholar, I travel the world, speaking with people and learning the lessons of history and human nature. And because a good bard must experience adventure at first hand in order to present its drama effectively, I have learned to defend myself with the noble tools of medium armor and long blade, and have mastered minor mysteries of alchemy, enchantment, and illusion.
Travel to Mournhold from Vvardenfell has been heavily restricted recently due to concerns about the Blight, but I've heard that transport might still be available from Ebonheart. Okay, that's a mod. Ebonheart is base game. Old Ebonheart, Mournhold, the mainland. These are Project Tamriel, Project Cyrodiil. I also have Skyrim, Home of the Nords, and Tomb of the Snow Prince. There's lots of expansions, so the game is huge. If you look at my map, of playable stuff, you can see how huge this map is. And here is base game, Solstheim, Morrowind, right here. So yeah, not all of this is playable yet, I believe, but a lot of it is.
I'm Albitius Cololius. Welcome to Scenic Sedanine, gateway to Morrowind. Are you looking for someone in particular, or do you just want a little advice? Did you hear that some fool lost Mentor's ring in a tomb along the Bitter Coast, or so they say?
If someone attacks you first, you have the right to defend yourself. If someone doesn't attack you first, you're going to break the law if you attack them.
I am a battle mage. Though arrayed as a Western knight with heavy armor, axes, and long blades, my primary training is in the College of Alteration, the College of Destruction, and the College of Conjuration. To round out my education, I have mastered enchantments and alchemy. Potions made through alchemy or purchased from alchemists grant me the magics of the Restoration, Mysticism, and Illusion colleges. And can there be any more terrible master of the science of war than a battle mage? I think not.
Please, we rent beds. I have some goods for barter. What do you want?
Okay, so beds are just, some of these are going to run into yes or no, so I won't always exhaust them. And it won't stay exhausted, so I can click on beds. She'll tell me we have one, I have to say yes or no.
For the rest of the day. Okay, just ask again if you change your mind.
Delete me. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's new. Hackalo, do I want to purchase some Hackalo? Do I want to buy a pipe? That's a smoking mod. I don't smoke.
Well, most Outlanders stick close to the Imperial Guilds and the Legions, but you might consider service in one of the Dunmer Great Houses. They aren't real fond of Outlanders, and you have to look around hard for a patron, someone who'll speak for you, help you advance to the higher ranks. But the Great Houses are where the real opportunities are. House Hlalu and House Redoran are pretty reasonable. House Telvanni, the Wizard House, they're another story.
So in this run through, I will be doing Redoran for mod reasons and temperament reasons. For mod reasons, character reasons. Me personally, I think the Telvanni towers are ugly, so I don't want that as a stronghold. Even though I think the Telvanni storyline is kind of hilarious, it's also buggy. I have mods on my soul gems, and that screws up one point where she just will not accept certain gems at all. So I'd have to advance the quest by console. I don't want to do that. Also, the Telvanni, there's some, I mean, it would not suit this character. There's some points. There's a point where you have to put down a slave rebellion. She wouldn't do that. And Hlalu, there's a lot of theft, and I think theft is really buggy in this game. You never really get to the point where theft is going to be easy or always succeed. So you either end up with the guards a lot or you save scum a lot, and I'm not going to be doing Hlalu. Hlalu also can lock up a certain part of the main quest, so I'm going to be going with Redoran. So, as you see, a home-cooked meal is never really gonna... Oh, it does go away. Alright, maybe my mods have changed a bit. That's good.
I am a publican. I have food to buy and beds for lodgers. I also know the neighborhood and can share the local lore, or if you prefer, I can give you a little Morrowind lore. I also am likely to have heard the latest rumors, and am happy to share them with you in the spirit of fellowship.
Okay, so yeah, as you see, food just came back. So it doesn't matter, they're not going to clear.
The Ashlanders worship their ancestors. Ashlander tribes are led by their Ashkan war chiefs and guided by the wisdom and prophecies of their wise women. We've got local fare. It's filling and priced to move. We've got the local brews, Grief, Sheen, Mazte, and Sujama. They're cheap and full of kick. I've got the good stuff, too, behind the counter. Cyrodiilic brandy and Flynn. But it ain't cheap. We don't carry skooma, and we don't like it used here. And we don't like Telvanni bug musk either. It clouds the mind and makes fools more foolish. Cyrodiilic brandy, an invigorating and stimulating alcoholic beverage, is imported and expensive in Morrowind, but it is claimed to have none of the unpleasant side effects of other intoxicants. I hear it fortifies willpower and endurance. I don't know myself. I save this for paying customers. Imported Cyrodiilic whiskey is called Flynn. This stimulating beverage is imported and expensive, but has none of the unpleasant side effects of other intoxicating beverages. A sharp boost in strength and willpower is what most people experience. The native Cumbri brandy is locally called Grief. Grief is a strong stimulant, but like all intoxicants, it tends to impair physical coordination. That is, it makes you feel real strong, but makes you clumsy. Mazte is a local beer brewed from fermented salt rice. Cheap, plentiful, and invigorating, this beverage is very popular, despite its dulling effect of wit and judgment. For the price, folks are willing to feel dumb and weak-willed, so long as they feel really strong.
On a side note, salt rice... When I first saw it, and for years, and of course this stuff isn't spoken in most games, I thought it was French. Saltrice. Nope, salt rice.
Skooma is an illegal narcotic substance made from refined moon sugar. Criminals use it as a kind of currency. They say it makes you fast and strong, but clumsy and stupid. Of course, I want nothing to do with it. The native Cumbri wine is locally called Sheen. Sheen is a strong stimulant, but using it results in impaired judgment. You may gain a lot of endurance, but you won't be very smart. The local Dunmer liquor, Sujama, is extremely potent, and indulgence results in elevated spirits and diminished mental faculties. Has a kick like a guar, very strong and just as stupid. Telvanni bug musk is an expensive perfume made from the scent glands of Graysland's beetles. The substance is sold in sealed flasks and appears as a dark red-brown paste. The subtle but compelling fragrance is attractive to all mortal races and all sexes. Even a barbarian can be persuasive wearing this perfume.
Go ahead. You're not interrupting anything. I'm alone. Scout. You need directions. Pelagiad, Balmora, Caldera, Ebonheart, Vivek.
Balmora is the district seat of House Hlalu and the largest settlement on Vvardenfell after Vivek City. Good roads lead north from here to Balmora, passing through Fort Pelagiad and Pelagiad Village from Balmora. Yeah, I really hate that about the effects being incredibly loud. Okay, if you expand everything that she says, we will be here for an hour. So, she will tell you about all the districts, all the locations, and that's fine. I've advanced my quest to Balmora. That's about all I want to do. She takes a very long time to exhaust, and most of it is geography, which is nice for
Bloody
people
thieves are all the same. Worthless.
Oh,
Outlander.
that need that, but I got a map. Okay. I'll be playing books for a little bit, because we're just about to the point where we can do Fargoth's quest. I love the moths around the light, that's so cool. Okay, so I am going to take the soap, get a bath, go up the lighthouse, eat, and continue. What was it called? Alright, find the book. The Firmament. We were about a third of the way through. There we go. How it remembers.
Kinds of spellcasting, but are often arrogant and absent-minded. The Thief. The Thief is the last guardian constellation, and her season is the darkest month of Evening Star. Her charges are the Lover, the Shadow, and the Tower. Those born under the sign of the Thief are not typically thieves, though they take risks more often and only rarely come to harm. They will run out of luck eventually, however, and rarely live as long as those born under other signs. The Serpent. The serpent wanders about in the sky and has no season, though its motions are predictable to a degree. No characteristics are common to all who are born under the sign of the serpent. Those born under this sign are the most blessed and the most cursed. The Lady. The Lady is one of the warrior's charges, and her season is Heartfire. Those born under the sign of the Lady are kind and tolerant. The Steed. The Steed is one of the warrior's charges, and her season is mid-year. Those born under the sign of the Steed are impatient and always hurrying from one place to another. The Lord. The Lord's season is first seed, and he oversees all of Tamriel during the planting. Those born under the sign of the Lord are stronger and healthier than those born under other signs. The Apprentice. The Apprentice's season is sun's height. Those born under the sign of the Apprentice have a special affinity for magic of all kinds, but are more vulnerable to magic as well. The Atronach. The Atronach, often called the Golem, is one of the mage's charges. Its season is sun's dusk. Those born under this sign are natural sorcerers with deep reserves of magicka, but they cannot generate magicka of their own. The Ritual. The Ritual is one of the mage's charges, and its season is Morning Star. Those born under this sign have a variety of abilities depending on the aspects of the moons and the divines. The Lover. The Lover is one of the thief's charges, and her season is Sun's Dawn. Those born under the sign of the Lover are graceful and passionate. The Shadow. The Shadow's season is Second Seed. The Shadow grants those born under her sign the ability to hide in shadows. The Tower. The Tower is one of the thief's charges, and its season is Frostfall. Those born under the sign of the Tower have a knack for finding gold and can open locks of all kinds.
Over on the other side of this, I don't have Levitate yet. It's easier once you get Levitate, otherwise it's a bunch of jumping. And if you have Detect Enchantment, you'll be able to see there's some stuff in this tree. I'm not going to do it right now, but if at the beginning of the game when you don't have Detect Enchantment and you want to do a bunch of jumping, you can do that later on. I'll come back when I have Levitate.
I'm listening. So, you're new to Seydanine, and you'd like some help finding your way around. Very sensible. Go ahead, ask away. Looking for services? Some specific place? Someone in particular? Just need a little advice? Whatever it is, I'd be happy to help.
My name is Vvardenfell. I'm the keeper in charge of the lighthouse, which we call the Grand Pharos. Out there, beyond the ghost fence, stumble beasts mad with Corpus. They inhabit old Dwemer ruins and dwell in the dark of our burned-out fortresses. They kidnap the lone wanderer, harry our caravans, and when they are bold, they attack our towns. I've heard it's only been getting worse of late.
House Hlalu is an ambitious house of traders and merchant princes. They are strong supporters of the Empire.
The lighthouse guards this part of the coast. My duty is to light the fires at dusk or in bad weather, and ensure that they stay lit until visibility is good again. If I fail in that, passing ships could easily run aground in the darkness. It is a grave responsibility.
Red Mountain is the great volcano in the center of Vvardenfell Island. The crater of Red Mountain is called the Dagoth-Ur region, where Dagoth-Ur and his evil servants dwell. The tribunal built the ghost fence around Red Mountain to imprison Dagoth-Ur and his servants, and to protect Morrowind from the blight storms that issue from Dagoth-Ur's crater. Dagoth-Ur is the evil immortal enemy of the tribunal temple cult. The temple holds Dagoth-Ur and his hosts accountable for all the evils that beset the Dunmer and Morrowind. Dagoth-Ur dwells in fiery caverns beneath Red Mountain, served by his kin called ash vampires and by legions of deformed monsters.
So that sound will happen when I mouse over a book that will give me something?
Life-changing about being in love, said Kepkajina Gra Min Fang, sometimes called the Wraith. I haven't wanted to rob anyone or anything in weeks. Why, the other day I saw the door wide open at a wealthy merchant's house, but my mind was fully occupied with what I should wear on my wedding day. You have been out of the right society for very long now, frowned her friend Kargol approvingly. You never told me what happened to your first husband. You know, the one the shaman gave you.
Okay, not much is going to happen right now. Sometimes I'd be practicing my spells, but I'm going to listen to a book, wait about an hour. Unfortunately, it's going to be anticlimactic because with modded trees and a higher lighthouse, we can't see Fargoth. But if you wait about an hour up here and we'll listen to a book, the quest will advance.
Torn apart by ash ghouls, smiled Kepkaina dreamily. It was rather saddish, but I know nothing like that would happen to Wodwurg. No life of adventure for him. He's practically an Imperial. In fact, he is one. Did I tell you how we met? Hundreds of times, grumbled Kargol, reaching for his flagon. He was your jailer, and he refused you food until you promised to marry him. Have you ever heard of anything so madly romantic in all your life?
His weird little
sighed
gate. He's
Kepkaina,
sneaking.
and then grew serious. I was going to say that I hope my old friends will wish me well, but as old Bosriel used to say, there's no point in hoping for what cannot be.
But if you go before,
we'll leave with the Imperial Knights for Balmora immediately after the wedding. But as long as we're in Dagonfell, the gang will find some way of disrupting my love life and bring me back to the light. I know it. As the days approached towards the Wraith's wedding day, there was certainly something sinister in the air that Kepkajna could smell when she was not transported by heady bliss. Dark figures seemed to shift in the shadows and disappear when approached. She recognized the clothing of some beggars near Wodwurg's cottage as costumes, but the mendicants hurried away before she could recognize which of her old gang was stalking her. But these moments of apprehension were few. Kepkajna was truly happy, making arrangements for the ceremony to be performed at the very dungeon where Wodwurg had imprisoned her. Her father was long since dead, another victim of the ash ghouls, but her fiancé's commander volunteered to act in his behalf. Of course, Kepkaina had to supply her own dowry. She spent every last mark of her savings of ill-gotten gain to buy her beloved a truly wonderful present. The wedding was set for the stroke of midnight, as is Orc tradition. The handmaidens, wives of imperial officers, were busily sewing her into her gown of red velvet and fine gold filigree in the mid-morning. Dolcetta, one of the handmaidens, remarked that she had heard that Kepkajna had bought Wodwurg a truly beautiful gift for her dowry. Let me show it to you, Kepkaina giggled, dashing from the room, half-dressed to her hidden alcove. The present had been stolen. The women were horrified, but the Wraith found herself merely irritated, not surprised. This was truly the old gang's style. They knew that a wedding ceremony without a dowry was marked as unlucky. She asked her handmaidens to finish dressing her quickly, while she pondered what the burglars would have done with her treasure. The whole region was honeycombed with secret lairs and abandoned sites thieves used to store their loot. There were obvious places, of course, but after much reflection, she thought of where she would have put it under similar circumstances. Once the handmaids had finished, Kepkaina bade them to make certain that the ceremony went on as scheduled, and not to fret, as she might be a little late. She wrapped herself in a shawl to protect her gown from dungeon dust and set off for the shrine of Malakath. The Wraith had never before attempted to rob her own friends, and though she was peeved at them for trying to ruin her happiness, she had no interest in hurting them physically. Her style was to avoid conflict, though she knew it would be inevitable. The lessons her mentor Kargol had given her had helped her avoid the lances and blades of guards and imperial knights over the years. Now she would see if they would allow her to survive.
All right, as
bloody thieves are all the same. Worthless.
With a quest log, like the kind that I have, I want to clear this. Now, I could hide it, I could stop tracking it, but I'm going to give my character a little bit of OCD. You need a really good reason to not finish a quest. And so she's going to go ahead and finish this. She doesn't really know what I know. But in general, as a player, if you want, don't finish the quest. Just keep the money.
Don't stand about. Keep. You were supposed to find Fargoth's hiding place. Were you able to? You found his hiding place? That's great. Tell you what, I'll give you 100 gold, and you can keep anything else that you found in there. Thanks for your help.
Okay, so you lose 200 gold in that deal. She did not know that.
What say you?
Yes, Outlander?
I'm going to check to see if Ariel has one other thing. It's possible.
To what do I owe the pleasure, Dunmer?
There's something called a redware basin, which is essentially a portable bath. So I will be going to merchants trying to get that. Up over here, I've added an alchemy merchant. There is a lot of fetch and carry, and sometimes it's good to have a place that you could just go and buy what you need. I'm going to raise my disposition with her. I'm going to check that I have a few things. And buy some flowers, because I know I'm going to need them pretty soon. Okay. I am procedurally precognizant, because I can be. So I just did a quest and it cost me money, and I was okay with that. So sometimes my character is going to complete a quest and be like, oh man, she doesn't know, but I know. But in this case, I'm just saving myself as a player some time. Alright, this is a modded home. So I'll be going in taking care of myself, getting some sleep, finishing some books, picking some flowers. I'll finish up the Wraith's wedding dowry, look at some other things that we found today, and tomorrow we can actually get to killing stuff. Okay, so fires will purify water, and you can cook. I looted some foodware and things to cook with. I'm going to make some mushroom meals. So foodware would be like plates and bowls that I grabbed from around, and these are mushrooms. And it'll tell you, it'll restore fatigue, give you water walking, and water breathing. These are, I mean, they're minor buffs. They don't last long. It's not really a good reason to make this stuff for the buffs, although you can make things that cure disease, which can be helpful. But this is essentially purely roleplay, except that it raises alchemy skill, which is amazing. So if I can sort of passively and procedurally raise my alchemy skill, I'm gonna do it. There is food in here, but these are mostly static. They look good. They won't repop, so I'm just gonna leave everything here. I don't really need more of everything. I mean, yeah, my character does, but I want to leave it pretty. Bookcases if I want them, a vendor, and a water source back there. Eventually I'll get a tea kettle and be able to also make tea, which she really likes. I don't actually like tea. She loves it. So here is her room. There isn't much, I mean, there are a few things to loot, but I'm probably not going to.
Survive a den of thieves and the unknown dangers of the shrine, without, most importantly, ruining her dress. The desolate place was so empty as she delved into it that she feared she might have made a miscalculation. It was not until she found the small room hidden down a long corridor that she knew she was at the right place, and that it was well suited for an ambush. She grabbed the chest with her treasure within and turned to face the assault. Two of her old gang, Yoram and Yor-Ai, the Redguard twin brother and sister, were outside the door as she came from the room. They knew the Wraith better than to taunt her, and immediately attacked. Yoram struck out with a left thrust of his blade, while Yor-I sought to rush her. The Wraith neatly sidestepped Yor-I, while dropping her weight to her rear left leg, shifting her right shoulder to the left to slip past Yoram's strike. The twins crashed into one another, and Kepkadna passed swiftly on. Almost immediately she was set on by the Argonian Binyar, his mace whistling through the air at her head. They had never much liked one another. The Wraith snapped into a duck, so the mace whacked with a tremendous clamour against the stone wall. Binyar was thrown off balance, giving her a few seconds' lead, hurrying up the passage. Ahead she could smell the fresh night air. The last of her dowry's defenders was Sorokth, an orc with whom she had shared a brief romance. It was he who Kepkaina knew had masterminded the theft. In a way, and in context, she thought, his devotion to her misery was rather sweet. At the moment, though, she was most concerned with avoiding his barbed axe that seemed ideal for breaking her dress's fine stitchwork and the flesh beneath. Bending her knees slightly, bobbing to avoid strikes to the head, weaving her head to confuse Sorokth of her next move, shuffling her feet arrhythmically, the Wraith made an impossible target. She ducked inside his thrusts, sidestepped his swings, and then sidestepped his thrusts and ducked his swings. As erratic as she tried to make her defensive moves, Sorokth still kept pace with her, refusing to budge from his position at the dungeon outlet. Midnight was coming, and the Wraith finally decided that she must end the confrontation. When Sorokth swung out next, she sidestepped to her left, swayed down, and ducked her head, so the axe whistled over her right shoulder. In that instant, his right side was exposed, and she reluctantly smashed the chest hard into his torso. There was not enough time for Kepkainer to see if she had killed him or merely knocked him unconscious. In truth, she thought of nothing else but rushing to her wedding ceremony. At precisely midnight, Wodvurg and Kepkainer were united together. He was delighted with her dowry gift, a fine suit of armor that would make him the envy of other imperial jailers. Even more, he was enchanted by his wife's tale of retrieving it from the shrine of Malakath. "Did it occur to you to put on the armor when you knew that it was an ambush?" he asked. "I didn't want to dent your present," she replied between kisses, "and I certainly didn't want to wrinkle my gown."
Okay, these are the Sun's Dusk books. Eat, drink, be merry. I believe we already read the captain's orders. Let's see if it'll read. Okay, this won't auto-read. So, you've been given these directions in a package of documents. Do not show them to anyone. Do not attempt to read the documents in the package. The package has been sealed, and your tampering will be discovered and punished. Follow these directions. Proceed to the town of Balmora and Vvardenfell district. Report to a man named Caius Cassades. He will be your superior and patron. You will follow his orders. His residence is not known, but ask at the corner club called South Wall. People there will know where to find Caius Cassades. When you report to Caius Cassades, deliver the package of documents to him and wait for further orders. Remember, you owe your life and freedom to the Emperor. Serve him well, and you will be rewarded. Betray him, and you will suffer the fate of all traitors. I have the honor to prepare this at the direction of His Most Sovereign Majesty of Emperor Uriel Septim, Labrio Belenius, personal secretary to the Emperor. So she's going to immediately call bullshit. She hates the Emperor. She hates the Empire. She deeply resents being seasick for a very long time just for trying to help someone, and she is not inclined to do anything but call bullshit. But she is also aware that she has to do it because she doesn't have power.
The Ebonheart Bellman, Ebonheart fashion trendsetter, Itea Nemesia, the formidable top administrator of the East Empire Company, may also be the most fashionable woman in the city. Recently, she wowed the city's elite society with her sleek new outfit of tight-fitting cream trousers, a deep blue velvet robe tastefully ornamented with golden embroidery and matching silken shoes, tailor-made to suit the fast-paced lifestyle of the foremost merchant in Old Ebonheart. Note that all of Atia's garments are ordered straight from the finest couturier houses in Cyrodiil City, representing the latest in imperial design. In her own words, life is too short for half measures. I dress the same way I run my EEC chapter, ruthlessly, without false scruples. Whether shocked or thrilled by these new winds in fashion, one thing is clear. In matters of style, this is a woman to keep in mind.
So these are all from Project Cyrodiil. They are news sheets left around. From Sedanin to Balmora by road. Again, this is from Elone. It's just a readable map, which is fine. We've heard this 17 times by now. Okay. Trade House Notice is, unfortunately, not a good piece of writing. It's about, 17 pages long talking about how someone is allowed to run a trade house. Not a fan. Okay, we got them all.
Balmora. Most.
Okay, got everything I've been reading. And I will then store. Okay, my quick loot mod is a little fiddly. Very helpful when I'm out, but not particularly helpful with a large inventory and wanting to put something in a box. So I'll be storing things once I read them. I don't really have the patience to put everything on bookshelves. I wish I did. I can turn it off and then just put this stuff in. Okay, so once I've read something, I will be storing it so I know I've already... Some books that I precognitively know I will need later, I will keep in my inventory. Okay. Turn my quick loop back on. And get a long-needed sleep after considering the bullshit of this whole thing. This is crazy. During your sleep, thanks to the knowledge you collected about you and the world, you had an idea, trying to focus your attention through meditation to channel and harness the magical energies of your surroundings. You dream of a shipwreck. At the bottom it says, I dream of a shipwreck. I should speak to the Morag Tong. I think leaping directly into let's assassinate people is not really her style. So the Morag Tong is gonna have to wait. Alright, I'm gonna eat breakfast. So now I have meals. I got meals on plates. You steal the ring back anyway. You can, I mean, you can keep it, you can use it, you could sell it. It's worth 30 gold. That's not much. I don't really stress over the ring. Alright, and we are ready to face the new day. And maybe actually kill something tomorrow.